Alright guys, so in last week's video I showed you what I believe was the fastest methods to find products to sell on Amazon in 2024, and I talked about the 8 products that I had found in less than 30 minutes, and in this week's video we're going to go through all of those 8 products I shortlisted. Now keep in mind I found these 8 products around about midnight, so I don't know if they're actually that good. All I know is that when I do product research, if I see a product of interest, it goes onto my shortlist, and then I come back with fresh eyes the next day and see what I think of it. So I'm going to do that with you guys. I'm going to show you 8 different product ideas. I'm not saying all of them are good, but if only one of these are of interest to you, this video is going to be worth watching. So off to the side here, I've got my list of products. The first product we're going to be taking a look at is a cutlery drawer organizer. Now you can see there is quite a search volume for this product, nearly 30,000 search volume, which means there could be quite a bit of demand in this niche. But remember when I saw these products, I thought they looked quite interesting. As you can see, they can be resized, which means they can be compacted for shipping, which will help keep your import costs down and also your Amazon fees down as well. Also, as I looked through them, there were some cheaper ones which looked pretty nasty, but there were also some ones selling towards the £15 to £20 price point, which is a good area for new sellers. So let's bring up X-Ray from Helium 10 and see what these stats look like with fresh eyes. Some of these products might be absolute garbage, but hopefully there'll be some value in this video either way. So the first thing we always do, let's filter out the sponsored results so we can see how the organic listings are selling. And from left to right, we go through the columns. And I'm not going to go through every column. I'm just going to cover the most important ones first. And then if it's still of interest, we'll go through some of the other columns as well. So let's just check the seasonality. So we click on the search volume and this will show you the search volume history for the past year. Is there a huge amount of seasonality? Not really. I would say this might have very small fluctuations throughout the year, but certainly I'm not seeing anything there that would concern me. And then if I wanted to validate that, if I was seriously considering this niche, I can look at individual products and I can see how those individual products have sold over the past year as well to see if there's any seasonality. So that's one of the first things I would check. The next thing I would look at is the price point and the sales. Is the product selling? And if it is it selling at a price point you can actually make some money? Well, we do have one seller here above the £15 price point, another one here at $18.99. But the other kind of more expensive ones are a bit further down the page, which is a bit of a concern. I would much prefer to see some of these products further up in the search results. Also, it looks like the cheaper products here, well, I say it looks like, it's not actually true. I was going to say the cheaper products are dominating sales, but you've got here 2,000 sales at £6, but then 7,000 sales at £18. So maybe there is an opportunity to get a well-priced product up here. You've got evidence of 2 sellers doing big numbers towards the £20 price point. So there is a little bit of evidence there. But further down the page, actually these guys are still selling reasonable numbers. You know, 295 units at $15.99, £20 for 300 units, back again £20 for 261 units. There's actually quite a nice landing zone developing on this part of the page. You could get potentially 200 to 300 sales around about that £20 price point. There's evidence there that this niche is maybe worth keeping on your shortlist, despite the fact I would ideally prefer to see some of these a bit further up in the search results. So on the initial analysis, I would probably keep it on my shortlist for now and dive a bit more into the other columns. So what I'd look for first, I'd look at the seller regions to make sure there were some GB sellers, which there are. If I saw lots of CN sellers, often that means the margins are going to be too tight. Now I prefer not to see this many AMZ listings, but there's certainly enough non-AMZ listings from the GB or from the UK, which would make me feel confident that I could break into this first page. I then look at the average review score. No one is averaging 4.8 or above, which would give them a 5-star product. As it is, everyone's just going to see 4.5 stars, which is what you score if you get between 4.3 and 4.7 average. And it's very hard to maintain a 5-star average. So I don't want to be competing with 5-star products, and there are no 5-star products in this niche. I then take a quick look at the review columns. I've talked about in the past how I don't give this as much weight as some other sellers do. As long as I believe that my product is superior to the existing products, and I don't see review count as a blocker, unless every product's kind of got 4-figure reviews, which show it's very difficult for a new product to break into the search results. But what we're seeing here, we've got a couple here with only double figures breaking into the top 15 or so organic results. So that is a very promising sign. These are in the standard parcel tier, so the fees shouldn't be too high. And the last thing I want to check is the creation date to see, have we got any new listings in the past 12 months? And we've got a couple here from 2023, actually quite a few from 2023. So that shows it is possible for someone in the UK to launch a product, get ranked in the top 15 results, and hopefully make some money. So potentially, I would keep this on my short list. Maybe I would keep this on my list for when I'd look on Alibaba to see how much these things would actually cost, do the profit stack up, what sort of differentiation can I give this product to stand out against these existing search results. So that's not a bad start to this shortlist. Up next, we have got a spice rack for inside cupboard. Now, that's quite specific, but when you do this spice rack, you have to use something like Search Expander, or you can take it through to Cerebro to see where the search volume is. And Spice Rack has a search volume of 38,000, but Spice Rack for inside cupboard, which narrows it down and gives you a very, very focused audience, still has a search volume over 10, well, basically 11,000 search volume. So certainly a targeted, highly specific search volume at a good level. So let's see how this niche stacks up. Now, what I forgot to mention on the first product is always have a quick scroll down first to make sure the products that you're looking at are comparable. That's why I always do my first step before I run X-ray, make sure the products are comparable, because the last thing you want to do is run X-ray and actually the products aren't comparable at all, because then your whole analysis is a waste of time. So just to repeat the process a little bit, just what we just did, the first thing we'll do is check the seasonality, then we're going to check the price point, and then we're going to check the demand. So seasonality, let's take a look over the past year. We have, it's a bit up and downy. It's not clear. There's a drop off heading into Christmas, which is very, very rare. Sometimes what you will see is just because the search volume history has gone up and down doesn't mean demand has gone up or down. Sometimes the order of the suggested search terms in the Amazon search results can change around. So it's often worth looking at some of the other search results to see if either of those are doing the opposite to this graph. So in this instance, I would definitely look at 4 or 5 of these individual organic products, not the sponsored listings. Look at these and see how they've been selling over the past year to look for any signs of seasonality. We then look at price point and demand, but I haven't filtered out my sponsored products like I always say, so filter out the sponsored products. Price point, we have some here, $26.99, $36.99, $15.99, $19.99. So quite a variable price point. What it shows is that people aren't necessarily buying on price, they're buying on the overall offering, the fact that you have the slightly lower price listings and the higher price listings all selling together. Demand. This is lower than the previous product, but at the same time, sometimes this is more appealing to new sellers, as you don't want to enter a niche where the top sellers are selling kind of 1, 2, 3, 4,000 units. It's very, very difficult to get that high up in the listings. Whereas these guys, the top sellers, are selling 400, 580, 292, 389, and then you come down a bit further, 150, 137, 112, 262. So potentially here, another landing zone, maybe 150 to 200 units would give you a good chance of getting into these top organic results and generating some sales. As we come across to the right-hand side, we look at the seller column again. We've got some GB sellers, which is always a positive sign. In the review column, we've got no one averaging. We've got one seller there averaging 4.8, which isn't a concern, and one down here at 5 stars as well. But these are quite low review counts, which means these are probably going to drag down as they get more natural reviews, because usually a new listing will have some fake reviews to help boost those initial sales. The size tier looks quite promising at small parcels. For many of them, that will help keep the fees down. And we have two listings in the past year or so. So overall, again, a product that maybe I would keep on that short list to look into a bit further to see what sort of differentiation I can come up with. Can I come up with something that's going to compete in this niche, which is actually quite noisy, it's quite busy with people bundling a lot. So maybe that might be something that would put me off this niche. I prefer niches that look a bit more like this, where things are cleaner, and then you can stand out easier in the search results. When you've got a very busy set of search results like this, sometimes it can be more tricky to stand out if every product is very, very busy. So that's the second product to look at. Product number 3 we have. Now, I hadn't even heard of this product before. It's called a Baton proofing basket. And this is the good thing with using the technique that I showed you in that previous video, and I'll link to it at the end of this video if you haven't seen it, is you'll find products you've never heard of before. And I've been looking at products on Amazon for like 5-6 years, and I get sent all sorts of products by the people that I mentor. But again, this is a new product that I've never come across, a Baton proofing basket. Let's take a look. Are all of these products comparable? Yep, they all appear to be proofing baskets. Yep, that's a promising start. Let's run X-ray on this and see what we get. So as usual, filter out the sponsored search results. Click on the search volume. Is there any seasonality? There's certainly a pickup as we've come into January. So maybe, let's see if they've got an all-time history. Is this the same? This looks like a product that's maybe gaining traction over time. So maybe the sales at the moment are overinflated to what you may expect long term. So again, check the individual sales history for products to see what has happened over the past year or so. Don't just go by the search volume alone. So from left to right, we've already checked that all of the products are comparable. One thing I forgot to mention on the two previous products, I also take a cursory glance at the brand column to make sure there aren't lots of big brands that are going to be hard to compete with. If people are going to recognize the brand, like for example, if you're selling in the kitchen sector, you might recognize Joseph or Oxo or something like that. They're going to be difficult to compete with. But if for things like this, where I haven't heard, maybe I've heard of Premier, maybe, there's no problem at all with brand domination. And also you want to make sure they're not Amazon, lots of Amazon listings as well. So price point looks reasonably positive. The majority of these are above that vital £15 price point. And actually, out of the 3 products we've looked at so far, this price point is the most consistent. This is where the demand is all around a similar sort of level, and it's at a level where hopefully new sellers would be able to make money. The sales column, this is quite lumpy. The 2 at the top are doing really high, and then it drops down quite quickly to 270, 213, 157. But again, I think if you could nail 200 units per month, 150 to 200 units per month, you could get onto this first page above that £15 price point. Potentially there is money to be made. I've only got 1 or 2 GB sellers in this niche, which isn't necessarily a red flag, but I prefer to see a few more GB sellers if possible. And then we go across to the right hand side. No one is overly happy with their product. Most of them are still averaging 4.5 stars. You've got quite a mixture of double and single figure review counts, which show this is either quite a new niche with lots of new listings, or the demand isn't as high as it currently suggests it is. So these products haven't had time to build up lots of review history yet. The easiest way to check is just scroll to the right hand side and look at their creation date. If these guys have created in July 2022 and they've only got 43 reviews, and these are June 2020 and they've got 83 reviews, that potentially is a worrying sign that the current demand levels are not indicative of what you can expect long term. So potentially that is a red flag for this niche, that the listing creation dates and the review counts don't match the demand levels that we are currently seeing. But again, another one you may keep on your list and dive into in a bit more detail, is there certainly appears to be room to stand out in this niche because no one is doing anything exciting on. I mean, these listings are pretty drab. I think you could do a lot to stand out in this niche. Now, I've already gone through 3 products in quite a bit of detail. And if I go through the next 5 products in that much detail, I think this video is going to end up being like an hour long. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to show you the next 5 products so you guys can look into these yourself. So the next one is cereal storage containers. So you can go and have a look into that and see what you think of that niche. We've also got a knee pillow. This is a product I actually looked at for my own business, funnily enough, but I couldn't quite make it work from a profit perspective because VAT was just absolutely destroying my profit margins. We have a baking tray set and a sofa arm tray. Some of the products I come across, it just always makes me laugh when I see some of these products. And then finally, a candle warmer lamp, which actually I might analyze with you guys because of the 5 products, this one, in the previous videos, I've talked about the rock salt lamps and how that niche is just so repetitive of people selling the same product. This niche reminds me of the rock salt lamp, as when you look at this, although some of these are slightly different, it just seems to just blend into one. But they're selling at a good price point, and I think there is potential to stand out in this niche. Now, I'm guessing there's going to be seasonality, the fact these are candles, but let's take a look at X-Ray and see what it says. Now, just before I get into that final analysis, just a quick reminder that Helium 10 have got a stonker of an offer on at the moment. It's the biggest offer they've ever ran, and it's only on for the month of March. They are offering 40% off for your first 6 months. There's no discount code. There's just an affiliate link in the pinned top comment or description. And if you click on that, that will bring you through to this page, and you can see it's only $60 for the first 6 months. I've been promoting Helium 10 on this channel for about 4 years now, and I've never seen them run an offer at this amount, 40% off, and for that duration of time for 6 months. So this is a great offer if you're starting Amazon FBA this year. So back to this final analysis, this candle warmer lamp. First thing you want to do, filter out those sponsored results, check the seasonality. Let's see what we are looking at with this. There is a big uptick for Christmas, as you would expect. And at the moment, we're probably, yeah, we're a fair bit above what we have been throughout the kind of the summer months. So this is definitely a seasonal product for 6 months of the year, and then it slows down for 6 months. So if you ever consider a seasonal product, you need to be aware of when the spikes are and when the troughs are, and you need to order the inventory accordingly. Now, ideally with a seasonal product, you want to launch here. You want to launch in low season when everyone else is doing low numbers, as it's a lot easier with PPC to launch your products when everyone else is selling less. So if you could launch your product around June, July, August, ready for the pickup as we head into autumn and into winter, then you'll be in a good position. But generally for new sellers, I normally say avoid seasonal products, as predicting and managing inventory is just an unnecessary hassle that you can avoid when there's so many other products out there for you to choose from. So potentially seasonality alone would be enough to put me off. Price point looks very, very healthy in this niche. The sales are actually quite disappointing. I was really hoping these were going to be better. You've got a couple here at a few hundred, and then it drops off quite quickly. There's no real obvious landing zone. I mean, to do good numbers, you've got to get into the top 4 or 5 results, which is not necessarily the target you want to set yourself as a new seller. You want to pick a landing zone maybe in the top 10 to 15 results. So you've got a bit more flexibility if you can't nail those top few positions. So for me, I would probably stay away from this niche unless I was only targeting maybe 50 to 100 units per month. And then maybe I'd look at this, as this is at a reasonable, healthy price point. And if we just do the final checks that we were doing, we had to check for brand domination. There's no brand domination there, which is good. We've got a couple of GB sellers mixed in. We got a couple of listings here with 5 stars, but they are with small review counts, so I don't think they're going to last too long. Then to the right-hand side, lots of new listings in the past year, which suggests this is a brand new niche just getting traction, and that this price point is likely to be driven down over time. So I would say this product is high risk, and I would probably cross this off of my shortlist. So those are the 8 products that I found using the method that I showed last week. If you have not seen the video from last week where I show you how I found 8 products in 30 minutes, I'm going to pop up that video now, and I'll see you guys over there.